Welcome to r/slash Prorevenge, where OP goes full John Wick on the thief who stole her puppy. Our first Reddit post is from punk-rock-vixen, and you may have heard bits and pieces of this before because this just recently went viral on Facebook and in several places across Reddit. Because what this person did is gonna make your blood boil. So it all started on Sunday, May 26. I was flying back home from Texas where I was at my girlfriend's sister's wedding. We had a layover in Vegas before our 1-hour flight back to Sacramento. I land in Vegas and I get reception. That's when my roommate calls me and tells me how the door to our backyard gate was busted open and my beautiful husky wolf mix was missing. That dog is everything to me. She's 3 years old now, and I've had her since she was 2 months old. She's been with me through all my breakups, my layoffs, and my evictions. She was my only friend when all my other friends believed the rumors my ex said about me. Anyways, she's gone, and I get home to start doing the usual, putting up flyers, offering a reward, and notifying every shelter, vet, and her chip company of her disappearance. I put notices on every lost and found page, and suddenly it starts to go viral on Facebook. A lot of people really wanted to help me find my dog, and I had eyes everywhere. I wake up one day to a Craigslist ad with a picture of an unknown girl hugging my dog with the ad titled, "Found Husky," sent to me by a friend of mine, so I contact the ad maker. So I'm gonna take a pause here to show the Instagram post that the thief posted. This picture actually made it to r/slash I am a total piece of doo-doo. "The universe sent me this pretty female dog today. Hashtag she's beautiful. Hashtag husky." So by "the universe sent it to you," do you really mean you broke into someone's house and stole it? Anyways, back to the story. The lady was nice and explained how she didn't find my dog, but a friend of hers on Instagram found her. She watched her post pictures on Instagram and brag about how "the universe brought me this beautiful female dog." She sent me screenshots of her Instagram and all the pictures she posted of my dog. She then tells me, I don't know her personally, but she is a fellow escort. It turns out the girl who has my dog is an escort. So she messaged the girl to tell her that she found the owner of the dog, and she full deletes all posts about my dog and blocks the ad maker. So I think, alright, this is already viral. Game on, female dog. I get all the people who have been searching, including my detective aunt, and we make a hunt. I file a police report, and they are down to bust this chick. But I have to find where she is and where she's holding my dog for them to do anything, which is pretty useless. I get people to start contacting one another, and we found her legal name, all the addresses she is tied to, including her boyfriend, mom, stepdad, possibly dad, and stepmom's info. We even found 2 warrants for her arrest. She was charged with petty theft, hit and run involving property damage, lying to a peace officer, and possession of contraband. After I found that info, including her being an escort, which is illegal where I'm from, we had her. I dug up all her info, including emails and phone numbers with her escort phone number. So I call this woman to confront her, and she starts yelling at me about how I'm harassing and threatening her. This is the first time I've ever talked to the woman, and how she was going to press charges on me. She then said she brought my dog to a shelter. She also told me which shelter 2 days prior. I confirmed that wasn't true. Meanwhile, I'm gathering all the proof I have that this dog is mine, which is 3 years of timestamped photos with me and the dog, and the chip information that my dog is registered with, and her being in my name with the chip company. She's told this and still refuses to give her back by saying, "I'm afraid to give the dog back because the owner is threatening me," which I never did, and I have proof of that. So now she's on blast on Facebook, Instagram, and Reddit as well. I'll provide with more edits later. Update, so I'm not sure what more I can really do. The court fees to even try and get this female dog is gonna break my bank, and I already spent over $1,000 trying to find my dog. Then, even trying to find and serve her with the court may not work because the cops will only try 3 times before they say, "Welp, you're on your own." And then I would have to hire a private investigator. I'm not sure what to do besides blast her so hard this ends up on every news station and radio station in the Sacramento region. Update again. Oh boy, so check this out. The girl that stole my dog was with another girl when they found my dog. And boy does the plot thicken. They're both escorts. So the girl that stole my dog, let's call her Blonde Thief, and the girl she was with, we'll call her Red-Haired Thief. Blonde Thief left for San Francisco to work. She came back home early to find Red-Haired Thief was sleeping with Blonde-Haired Thief's boyfriend. And it gets better, mate. Red-Haired Thief beat Blonde-Haired Thief's butt, which involved the cops in a public police report. Boyfriend was taken to jail for domestic violence, and so did Red-Haired Thief. Now that this was public record, I looked up the incident. Sadly, there was no house address when I looked it up. I'll keep you updated. Final update. The Red-Haired Thief contacted me and told me the Blonde-Haired Thief took my dog to her dad's house. So I went detective and looked up who her dad is. I got his legal name, Facebook, and phone number. I get a car with a beefy friend of mine and drive 1 hour to Valley Springs to where her dad lives. We pull up to the property and there is my dog running up to the fence to greet me. I open the gate and she tackles me. I put her in the car and call the cops. They arrive and do their best to get him to answer the door, but the police chalk it up to him not being home. They take my statement and I explain everything down to each fine detail, including the escort in question having a record. They said they will be catching the father and I will be pressing charges for animal endangerment and grand theft. She will also be adding a 3rd warrant on her record. So glad it's over. And my dog is so happy to see me again every day. OP, I think I've seen this movie. OP is literally Jane Wick. Also, to make this story even more touching, I went back through Jane Wick's posting history and literally every single post she made on Reddit before this story was pictures of her cute pupper. She is clearly a deeply caring dog owner who loves her pupper. Aww. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go spend some time hugging Hugo. Our next Reddit story is from Twilling8. My first car was a 1984 Jeep CJ7. A pretty sweet ride for a dirt poor teenager in the 90s. I was working midnights at a gas station and loaned it to my brother who was taking a date to a party. I got a call around 1 a.m. from my brother who told me he left the keys in the Jeep and it was stolen. I was devastated. I was still on the phone with my brother when the thieves pulled my Jeep into my gas station to fill up on gas. As luck would have it, the gas gauge on my Jeep was broken and always read empty. And I worked at the only 24-hour gas station in the area. I pressed the silent alarm and proceeded to fill up my Jeep. It was a full-serve station. When the thieves were out of the Jeep, I saw an opportunity to slip the key out of the ignition and into my pocket. They paid for the gas and argued amongst each other who had the keys last. The delay was enough for the police to arrive. I had to explain the story to the officer half a dozen times before he understood. The thieves had this stunned look of disbelief on their faces I'll never forget. The cops were belly laughing telling the story to dispatch. All the while, the thieves sat in cuffs in the back of the squad car. The story made most of the major newspapers the following day. So essentially what these thieves did is stole the guy's car, filled it up with gas for him, and then returned it. Thanks, guys. Who said there's no honor among thieves? Our next Reddit post is from ergotronomatic. I was hit by a car while riding my bicycle. My backpack exploded and stuff was thrown everywhere. Witnesses helped me gather everything and police showed up. Someone took a bunch of pictures of the scene on their phone while EMS and police did their thing. Not a bad accident, only bumps and scrapes. Bike was destroyed though. When they asked for my phone number so they could text the pics to me, I realized I didn't have my phone. In fact, it was nowhere. I call my wife using a witness's phone, and she's hysterical. Someone stole my phone and was texting her saying, "I found this guy's phone at a car accident and he has a lot of calls and texts to you, so I'm trying to get his phone back to him, but I need 50 bucks. Looks like he buys a lot of stuff on Amazon, so he can afford 50. YOLO." Now, I was at the accident site for over an hour, and these texts were all sent during that time. So after calming my wife down, we play along and find that this moron who is extorting me from my phone works at some burger place downtown. She gave us the address and said I can come in to make the exchange. She can't afford to miss work, but needs money ASAP or the phone gets pawned. Yeah, I showed up with the police who responded to the accident. The girl was furious, yelling about how she deserves a reward for finding my phone, etc. I pressed charges. I was beyond pissed at the whole situation, but eventually dropped them when I found out that she was fired for her conduct. So yeah, F YOLO. Also, I now lock my phone. And then we have a brilliant recap from Nathaniel820 down in the comments. "I have your phone, send me money or you're not getting it back." "Okay, can I drop off the cash at your work?" "Yeah, sure man, 29457 Burger Joint Road. Don't bring the cops, please." "Yeah, okay, I'll be there soon." And then a reply from Shoestring30. "A couple years ago, someone tried to extort money in return for my phone. The guy gave me his home address. My buddy was like, let's just go over there. If it's just some guy, we take it back. We get there, it's just some random decent place, decent neighborhood. I asked to see my phone. Once he hands it to me, I just turn and walk away. He's yelling about money. I just yell F off over my shoulder and keep walking. People like these are why the phrase criminally stupid was invented. Our next Reddit post is from Red23011. This happened several years ago. I was working for a small medical supply company as the IT manager. Business was bad, and eventually the IT department had to downsize to just me. During this time, they brought in a new chief financial officer that I had to report directly to. Let's call her Pam. Pam had zero knowledge of IT and how things worked. Her motto was, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." PC and server life cycles didn't exist. We don't have to pay for licensing to keep our firewall updated. It's working just fine now. I went from having an annual budget to a wish list, which she would deny everything I asked for. The couple that owned the company were real pieces of garbage too. One time, we had a quarterly meeting and people were asking about how secure their jobs were. The owner said that nobody was getting laid off and that our jobs were all secure. This was at 5 p.m. on a Wednesday. The very next morning at 9 o'clock, they laid off 6 people. At noon, one of the owners showed up to show off the Escalade that he had just purchased that morning. During the first 6 months that Pam was there, she started firing everyone that worked for the old CFO and replaced them with her friends and family. 3 of her bridesmaids from her wedding a few years prior got hired to replace those that she fired. I knew I was on borrowed time. After she'd been there for 9 months, I was the only one left out of what was about a dozen people that worked for the old CFO. I knew my time was running out. I'd been looking for work, but the 2009 crash just happened and the job market in my area went south quickly. Sure enough, she called me into HR and blindsided me with an entirely trumped up charge that she claimed happened the day before. I was working with the VP of sales on a project that entire day, so I had a witness. I asked to bring him in since my boss was lying and was told, "This is not about him, this is about you." Remember kids, HR is there to protect the business, not do what is right or legal in some cases. Needless to say, I knew my days were numbered. The next morning, I got introduced to an IT expert who just happens to be Pam's 21-year-old nephew. He was to shadow me and evaluate everything that I did to see if we could streamline any processes. In other words, they wanted me to train him to do my job. I quickly learned that this kid had absolutely no knowledge of IT. He's the kid people think is an IT expert because he can hook up a PlayStation to the TV. He didn't even know how to join a PC to a domain. So I knew what had to be done. The inventory, billing, and shipping and receiving were all run by scripts that I created on the server. They were all run using the domain admin account. I raised quite a fuss about giving him the domain admin account in front of Pam and him. I then loudly proclaimed that I was going to change the password to it since you can't have people who don't work for the company to have admin access to our network. I was overruled and was told to give it to him. I complied, but I also showed him multiple times how to change passwords on the domain. I even had him write it down to make sure that he could do it. I really stressed the importance of changing the admin password and deleting his local account the second he is no longer consulting with us. I showed him a few things, but nothing in regards to what really made the company run that day. There wasn't enough time in a year to bring this kid up to speed on how to run that place due to his complete ignorance of IT. I come into work the next day, and sure enough, I was let go because her nephew had found my skills lacking in many areas. I collect my last paycheck and head home. The next morning, I get a call from the CFO and owners. Apparently, her nephew wasn't quite up to speed on everything we did there, and she was graciously offering to pay me my regular salary to come in as a consultant and get her nephew up to speed on the IT infrastructure. I told her that I was now an independent contractor, and if she wanted my services, I was going to charge her $200 per hour, with a 250-hour minimum. At that point, she told me that she was going to call the police and have me arrested for what I did if I didn't come in and fix everything. My response was, just so we're clear, you fired me, replaced me with a completely unqualified idiot, and now you're threatening to call the cops on me if I don't come in and fix what he did? I'll hold. Please call the police and let me know what they said. She started cursing at me and hung up the phone. Turns out her nephew did actually learn something from me. He changed the admin password after I'd left. The one that ran all the scripts for inventory, billing, shipping, and ordering. According to some of my coworkers, the place was dead in the water for several days until they could get a real consultant in to go through the documentation that I had created to fix the issue. The nephew was immediately fired, and Pam was gone within a month. That was rSlash and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button because I am getting closer and closer to 1 million subs, and I want that golden play button so badly.